And I watched it all from behind a stack of greasy plates, because I was the invisible guy in the cap, the one nobody bothered to learn by name. Yeah, that happened. The owner who built Palm Street from a single noisy stall into the restaurant people bragged about on first dates and after church. And lately the whispers had started coming in thin and sharp. I wanted the truth wearing my shoes, so I put on a faded cap, a chipped name tag, and a pair of sneakers that had forgotten their color. I learned how the back door sticks because of that bent hinge nobody ever claims, and I let hot water chew my fingertips while the plate rack rattled like a loose bike chain. The room breathed in a rhythm. Orders, ladles, bell, shout, bell again. And the head chef, Sei, big-shouldered and gold-chained with a voice that could slap a wall, did more pointing than cooking, which already made something inside me tilt. And then the stew incident hit like a slap, a perfect pot of pepper soup, the dish that won us Sunday lines out the door, and he lifted the lid, looked left, looked right, and poured in a jug of water like he was baptizing it. "Chef, the soup's fine already, won't it taste thin?" one of the young cooks whispered. And Sei leveled him with that tired grin. "Thin as profit," he said, flicking pepper flakes like confetti. "Customers don't know the difference." Rang up 3,500, peeled the difference into her purse, and smiled like sunshine at the man she just shorted. It's wild how quickly evil gets bored and careless when it thinks no one's looking. But the truth is someone always is. Here's complaints like thunder in another city, far-off noise, and I kept washing, kept nodding, kept yes, chef, and coming, madam. And that night I sat in the clean echo of the kitchen and told myself, don't swing too early, don't blow the roof before you see the termites. Patience is a blade. It cuts even when it sleeps. By the end of the first week, I'd met the whole range. Boys with big dreams and bad shoes. Aunties who moved trays like ballerinas. And one person who felt like a different frequency altogether. Her name was Mara, mid-20s, ponytail, quiet fire in her eyes. She sold food like she was introducing friends. "Good afternoon, sir. The jollof is singing today." And after work one night, I drifted a block behind her through the noise and the hawkers and the motorbikes, down a dim stairwell to a room that barely held a bed and a table, where her brother, Chitty, lay thin as a sigh, and the pill bottle on the stool read nerve repair medication with a price tag that can drown a paycheck. I left a bag of food on the table and said nothing more than for later. Because dignity is hotter than Lagos and Harmattan. And the next day the danger finally looked me in the face. Sei cornered me at the cold shelf with a smirk that wanted to be a threat. "Cunnel, why you everywhere? You day wash plates. You day count stock. You day near the back door. Who send you?" And I laughed small, harmless, palms up, "Chef, I just like to be useful, you know." Then Beezy caught me carrying a crate and gave me sugar on her tongue and ice in her eyes. "Mind your business if you want to last." And that's the thing about bullies. They always advertise the rules they're breaking. Then the senator night rolled in like a storm with tinted SUVs and men who scanned the doorway without blinking. And the order was the nostalgia hit. The air changed from rich to razor sharp, and he kept stirring as if nothing happened, like the pot had cursed him personally, and when the manager tasted it he recoiled. Sei raised his hands and said, "Ah, this one is Mara, she left it too long." And Beezy chimed in from the register. "I even saw her near the pot." And a lie told by two people in the same key sounds like truth to a tired ear. Mara's "that's not true" cracked with anger and fear. The suspension landed on her like a door slamming. And firing them on the spot would feel good for 8 seconds and fix nothing for 8 years. So I breathed. I watched. I went to Mara's that night with grilled fish, vegetables, plain rice wrapped in paper that held the heat like a promise. And she tried to hold her pride in both hands. "You didn't have to," she said. And I said, "I know." Which sometimes is the only honest sentence in the world. And I told her, gently, "Justice will come." And she looked at me like she heard a different voice under mine and chose mercy instead of questions. 2 weeks of quiet sharpened the blade. The little cameras Ruth from HR and I had tucked, yes. And the tapes filled with Beezy's gentle thefts and Sei's loud sabotage and the handshake behind the storeroom that said more than their mouths ever would. And I stayed invisible, sweeping, mopping. The call came at 10:45 on a humid Thursday. Femi's voice over the clatter, "Staff meeting now." And the dining room filled with uniforms and aprons and side glances. And I stepped forward in my cap and my tired sneakers and let silence do what it does best. I took off the cap. I dropped the apron on the chair. I stood there as myself. Just the weight of a father's voice at a doorway. This room, these spoons, that sign outside, they are mine, but more than that. This place was built with my hands and my mother's recipes and your sweat and our customers' trust. And I've been here among you for a month because trust doesn't rebuild itself. And I clicked the projector and let the screen talk. Beezy's fingers sliding money out. Ring up low, purse high. Then the senator's stew with Say's salt avalanche. Then, because every story needs a second twist, the supplier envelope in Say's backpack 2 nights earlier behind the generator room. Beezy tried a flimsy, "It's not what it looks like," and I said, "It is exactly what it looks like." Because sometimes mercy is the truth told clean, and I terminated them both, immediate. Called in that morning without explanation, and I told her what the best leaders get to say once in a great while. You held the line when no one was watching. You protected the brand without a salary for it. As of today, you're our new floor manager. Your pay is tripled. The change wasn't magic. It was muscle. Recipes honored, portions weighed instead of guessed, team meals cooked before service so no one steals from hunger, and Mara worked like a conductor. The pepper soup sang in the throat instead of scratching it. And yes, I rolled up my sleeves in daylight now, sliding ladles across to the new line cook. Teaching how to finish a broth without drowning it, showing the hosts how to read a frown before it becomes a complaint. Chitty's surgery landed like sunrise after a night that wouldn't end. The first time he stood unaided in the hallway, Mara dropped to her knees laughing and crying into the same breath. And when we threw a reopening, to be honest, more like a homecoming, we hung lanterns, tucked hibiscus into mason jars, lined the walls with photos from our rough months and our bright ones. Journalists came. Neighbors came. A taxi driver who'd eaten here since I sold plantains under a tarp came and brought his twins, and Mara spoke with a tremble that straightened into iron. When I thought the ground was gone under my feet, my team caught me, she said, and the room clapped like thunder. We answered them with dates and footage and a stack of receipts taller than a prayer, and here's the part one want you to sit with. Because it's the only part that keeps me up sometimes. Was I right to go undercover and let the wrong things keep happening a little longer so I could catch all of them at once? Or should I have ripped the bandage off the first night and let the wound stay open in daylight? You know what I mean? That last scene I keep in my head is simple. Cinematic even. The dining room after close, chairs upside down on tables like sleeping birds, a new kid mopping with headphones crooked. Not because I need it anymore, but because I don't ever want to forget the man I had to be to save the place I love. Now tell me this in the comments. Where's the line between justice and entrapment in a workplace like this? Do you forgive when someone steals because times are hard? Or do you hold the line because if the stew is watered today, the story will be watered tomorrow? And what does a community owe to the honest people stuck between both sides? If this story moved you, share it and drop your take below. Who was right? Who was wrong? What would you have done on the senator night? And if you're new here, hit subscribe so we can keep wrestling with the messy, honest parts of work, loyalty, and the kind of justice that actually makes a neighborhood better.